we have a new tier ranking, and we have a special guest today. He's above me with a special avatar.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Christian Von Carmian, the Vtuber that plays Warhammer 40,000. I'm a massive battle system nerd, Gene Stealer cult, little bit of Death Watch. We'll have to see what happens with them. But today I'm focusing on my Gene Stealer cult, nope, not that one, the Sisters of Battle expertise, so that I can give plenty of advice and help you all with your battle sister journey.
Perfect. The Gene Stealer cult one's kind of surprising. Like, Sisters and Gene Stealer cult usually don't see together.
I don't know, there's kind of a pipeline going on at the moment where people who play Gene Stealer cult are seeing my videos and then playing Sisters and vice versa.
So you're saying it's your fault?
Maybe.
Either way, we got Sisters today. I got my codex here right with me. Be nice. It's fun. The Sisters is so powerful. They look amazing. The new Canoness is great. So I'm just saying that now. Love her. And it's just a really good book. It's been out for a bit now, so we got to play some games with it, a good amount of games. And even with the points hike, Sisters are just doing wonderful. Still a really good army.
We'll see how much the points go up even more.
Can we get a 250-point Retributor squad? Before characters. No, that would just be brutal.
I don't know. It depends how much they bring the Castigator up. There's so few points between the Castigator and the Retributors at the moment.
Yeah, I do actually like the Castigator, though.
I only like the Castigator in comparison to the Retributors. Otherwise, I'm an Exorcist preferer.
That thing's kind of dead to me.
Church organ.
Well, but that's spoiling it. So we have the tier ranking here with us, and let's see. Oh yeah, I have it in codex order this time. It's not alphabetical order of whatever I name the files. So it'd actually be really nice to just go right through because we could just start with Morvenn Vahl. I still like her, but I remember telling you that my issue with her, it's not issue. She's still good, great with the Paragon Warsuits, and she is improved from the index. But she didn't improve as much as everyone else. So we're just
she went up 1 XP point, everyone else went up 2 experience points.
Exactly. Where it's like, she's nice, but look at this character over here.
Yeah. So, while she is the only one that can go with Paragon Warsuits, I think Paragon Warsuits are doing well by themselves.
You do?
Because their special ability is, as long as you're hunting vehicles and monsters, which is their job, you get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. So you're hitting on 2s anyway. And you're wounding much easier.
Yes.
So the rerolls are nice, and she's okay by herself, but looking at the points investment, you may want just more Paragon Warsuits.
More Paragon Warsuits. Yeah.
Because Morvenn Vahl's 160, Paragon Warsuits.
I was about to open the back of the book, but that does not apply anymore.
Yeah, 50 points difference. Maybe I'd just get more Paragon Warsuits. They're fast, they're not quite as tough as you'd think. They can't do their super cool tank shock thing anymore because tank shock is now based on toughness, not the strength of your weapons.
They did go up in toughness.
They did. Toughness 7, which is important when you're being hit by las cannons.
It's important
las cannons
in
are
general.
basically -1 to wound.
It actually passes a lot of barriers.
Yeah.
Especially like Eldar Shuriken guns that brutalized me in the past. Shuriken cannons.
Shuriken cannon, strength 6, damage 2.
It's the 4 wounds is what really gets me. I wish they were like at least 5 or 6. Oh, wait, but this is about Morvenn Vahl. She's very nice. Yes, I still like her. Her ability works. It works much better. Just they spend 1 miracle dice and you get 3 more attacks essentially all the time now. Especially like if you're going Army of the Faith. Look, I have 50 dice. Just buffer up.
You do generate a lot more miracle dice with that detachment.
That's going to be my frame of reference for Sisters a lot because I really like that detachment.
It's a good detachment.
But
I think it's my favorite, probably my favorite. I mean, Bringers of the Flame is cool and burny, and just rushing at the enemy screaming with fire is a wonderful feeling. But having more miracle dice.
More miracle dice, exactly. Generating 1 million. So I would put Morvenn Vahl as... I'm borderline situational. I would say strong just because...
I would say situational.
Yeah, because I actually haven't seen her as often. I still see her in about half the list I fight. But it's not as much as it used to be. It's not every list anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what you'd need her for that you can't just get somewhere else. If you've got Paragon Warsuits, yeah, she's the only character that can join them. That's probably why people would put their Warsuits with her. It's the Celestine issue. Everyone was running Celestine with their Seraphim or Zephyrim, but soon as the jump Canoness comes along, oh, who's Celestine? Never heard of her.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's, I'm guessing, named character issue, because thinking about it, I don't use many named characters anymore, other than the one we'll get to that I really like. But
okay.
Next up, we have Saint Celestine. Yeah, she's, like we said, she's mostly gone. She's not the only thing that could attach to the flyers, the Seraphim and Zephyrim. So she doesn't buff them either. You don't exactly need her. She's a nice deep strike. But
yes,
expensive.
what you can do is run her entirely by herself. Games Workshop has clarified that if you have a character unit that isn't attached to anything, you can assign the attacks wherever you want. So you don't have to put them on the 2 Gemini, you can put them on Celestine herself. And if you apply them to Celestine herself, then you can use the 4+ feel no pain that you get from the Gemini. So it's an extra save on top of it. It's a little bit exploity. It works. If you're trying to just hold up the enemy or a little bit inconvenience and murder the enemy, that's what you can do.
I did it with Dreadnought pretty often, but with Celestine, you could just get the first Gemini first, and then start putting damage on her if it goes over. Because you still have a Gemini.
Depends what the first hit coming in is. If it's like damage 6, yes, goodbye Gemini.
Yep.
If it's damage 1, I'll start on Celestine.
I would probably use it on the first Gemini, because after that one's gone, you could just put it on Celestine, and if she doesn't take damage, later on revive the Gemini, do it again.
Yeah, you can cry. Crying works.
It's funny. Cry, you're right, healing tears. But honestly, as a named character, I think I would still put her in situational, because you do not see her often anymore. She's nice on her own, but there's better options now.
She's pretty good leading Zephyrim because it's all combat. She likes getting into combat. In the index, I was suggesting Celestine and Zephyrim because it's a great delivery for Celestine.
Yeah.
You reroll your charges with the Zephyrim.
But she doesn't buff them at all.
No, and they don't buff her because the effect of the lethal hit, sustained hits is only on their power swords.
Yes, which is like... It's better just to run her on her own. You could, if you're good enough with her, you could just protect her. It's better not to get shot than to have a bodyguard unit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
maybe it's a bad choice.
Really?
What you have there is E-bad.
Oh no, I mistyped. That's what I get for doing it in the morning. Isn't that like what Calgar does? Yes, Calgar does a similar thing with his, what are they called, Victrix bodyguard. But he's better with a unit because I think he helps them more.
Yes, because he gives them all of the Gladius task force things. So they fall back and advance and shoot and still move and things.
I would actually... I put her below more in Vahl because I do at least see more in Vahl more often.
Yeah, so maybe bad choice.
You'd put her that low. Yeah. I could see that.
Considering the options.
There's better deep strike now than just her.
Yeah. Zephyrim have got better. Seraphim are still great. And we still have other cool characters like the Demonifuge.
Yeah. I just call her Stern because it's much easier. Because I usually say Damon Fugue, which, I don't know, is that a Canadian thing? Or
I don't know.
I do like Damon Fugue, or Damon, whatever. Stern, I like Stern a lot because deep strike on a small footprint, it's 2 bases. Good luck screening that out, even with like 12-inch deep strike. And lone op, so it's like, oh, I'm going to the corner, and you can't do your like mortal wounds like that. But containment in the corner behind enemy lines. Now I'm in your back. I'm gonna walk up to you and just get you.
Yeah, she doesn't have a jump pack, even though I'm sure she should have a jump pack, because thinking of the art of her, she was coming down with a jump pack and sword and bolt pistol. But 8-inch movement is all right. There's no fly. No, she doesn't fly anymore.
No. But
she has a random meat shield, which we don't need to talk about.
Oh yeah, he doesn't exist. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, but she has fight first. She has precision. She has anti-chaos 2+, and you do see a lot of chaos armies, especially with how good the Chaos Space Marine Codex is.
Yeah, chaos is Thousand Suns is actually getting more popular than I'd say core CSM. Like Thousand Suns is starting to really crawl up to being like a dominant army. But okay. They're still chaos. It works.
Yeah. Locally, I've just seen lots of people going, well, chaos detachments, let's see what all they do do and dragging their 30k armies out and slightly modifying them, and there's your 40k army. Just pick the right detachment.
Yeah. Over here, we had, it was, I think, the third best or the very best Chaos Space Marine player. Switch over to Thousand Suns for the last GT.
Ooh, traitors within traitors.
It's like, what's he cooking up? Well, what did he see? It was a monstrous list, that Thousand Suns list. But with Stern, I kind of wanted to take more advantage of her free heroic intervention.
I've used it like once, where there's a group of battle sisters and she is just behind them. She can heroic intervene through them and get into the enemy, and then fight first, kill the enemy character, and the enemy attacking your sisters is far less effective. But that's like one time.
It is one time. I mean, the built-in fights first does counteract the not getting benefits of charging.
Yeah. And because the enemy's turn is happening, you fight first when you fight first.
It's nice, but I think I'd put it in situational.
Yeah, in a 1,000 point game, she goes up a lot in value because she's only slightly more than the Canoness with Jump Pack. She's a cheaper version of Celestine. It's your like discount version.
The discount Jump Pack. Yeah. Discount, but more expensive.
Yes. Well, discount Celestine, maybe. Discount Celestine.
Celestine, but better. We see where Celestine is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Celestine, but cheaper. That's a better way to think of it.
There you go. I put her, this one I would definitely put a little more in Vahl, because I do see uses for her, just not often. So let's get in there.
It's your tier list. I'll allow it. I've done my own tier list.
You did, yes. Which I should actually.
I think I said at the end of that one, if you don't like it, do your own.
Yeah. And there we go. I didn't agree with it. Ooh, my mic. I didn't agree with it fully. Here's my own. Because
with
this
me,
next
featuring me.
Featuring you. Challenge. The next one up, Junith Eruita. I love the names.
I don't know if it's Eruita or I just call her Junith because I never know how to pronounce her surname.
I actually like her way more than you do, because to me, CP generation is worth its weight in gold. CP is so important. Like
depends on the detachment, I find. If it's Bringers of Flame, sort of. If it's Army of Faith, yes, a lot more command points are necessary because the stratagems give you more miracle dice, and that makes your army work in that detachment.
Even with like Flames, it's like you do a miracle dice to do a save, and then you re-roll one. It's like scuffed Army of Faith.
Yeah, sure.
I know. I have weird opinions.
But that's where I had we have Canonesses for this, for the free stratagems. So usually if I have enough Canonesses, which is like 1 or 2, then I'm doing fine. Because you can only use one of those abilities per turn. But that's where I get my extra command points, or by discarding a secondary objective.
And I would take this on top of that to generate even more. Basically, you go from 10...
You can generate only 1 per battle round.
You go from 10 generated to like 15, because it's pretty reliable to get. I would waste my...
It is pretty reliable. She's also useful for -1 to hit in a Battle Sister squad.
Yeah, but I would run her solo.
You could put her with half a Battle Sister squad that's on your home objective with a Simulacrum. Generate miracle dice. Her heavy flamers are there to protect the home from enemy deep strike. There's a really good Overwatch.
It's brutal. D6 shots. Oh yeah, it's twin length now. Now, I say. But the CP generation is so important to me. It's always good to have that, because there's options. Oh look, I want to go to ground. I want to reroll. I want to new orders or do whatever else.
Maybe with new orders being no longer once per game. Maybe. I find I'm just better at managing my command points. I know exactly what I'm going to do with all of the command points, assuming I get non-extra.
Yeah. And for Lucas Ranch, yes, I believe Claudio's going to use Thousand Suns or Demons at the Fall Open. But yeah, he's planning on that as one of the armies for the GT. Junith, I don't know. I really like Junith. I would put her in strong, even running on her own, even not in Bringers of Army of Faith.
That's really one way to do it. Toughness 5 is okay. 8 wounds is useful. You only get the -1 when leading a unit. It just might be where we fall on, do you want command points or not? Do you think you want to pay 100 points for an extra command point as long as she's alive and throwing miracle dice at her?
I just, to me, it's worth its weight in gold. Like, I would say strong. If you would want situational, I could put it up there.
I would go situational, but this is your tier list, so you would
It's
go
definitely going
strong.
strong.
Put her in strong.
I've noticed a little issue where when I go to the tier list, it blanks out your.
Oh yeah,
voice.
it blanks me because you're changing, like, tabbing out, so it's fine. It's gonna happen.
Oh well. But next up, I think we could both agree on Triumph being really good. A little good.
It's good, definitely. Triumph for St. Catherine, looking at nearly 200 points. You do get a lot out of her, as long as you know how to use it.
Yes.
Fiery Heart ability wants to be probably always on, to be zooming things forward, whether you're in Bringers of Flame or not. Rerolling battle shock test is okay. The bonus act of faith is going to be okay if you're not in the Army of Faith. I like the Army of Faith, so I see less use in that.
I remember at first I saw Army of Faith and I'm like, what's the point of Katherine anymore? But after a couple of games, I'm like, Katherine is still so important. The movement alone, movement wins games. So just a +2 is major. Even if you don't want to use the Feel No Pain or lethal hits, it's +2 inch to movement.
It's great for, I don't think she does lethal hits anymore.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I meant the AP.
Oh yeah, extra AP in combat. Yeah, it's you got to run her by herself probably, otherwise you're adding an extra 115 points for a bodyguard. So that's 300 points for a unit. That's a bit too much, even at 2,000 points.
Yeah.
So having her by herself, but you can drop Zephyrim down in front of her and zoom forward, and there's your 8-inch charge re-rolling with a miracle dice optional.
The rapid ingress, just rapid ingress next to her, so next turn you fly. Literally.
At that point, I would say just wait in your own deployment zone.
Yeah. It depends how far up you go, but what else with her? Yeah, the Battle Sisters you don't really need because she's already 18 wounds. The Battle Sisters are just over half her wounds on top.
Toughness 3 is a bit inconvenient.
Yes. But if someone's shooting last cannons at this thing, oh look, miracle dice.
Yeah.
Like you need a lot in.
For one of the miracle dice.
Hey.
It's if you get something like Centurions.
Was it Gamer Pro better than you? Sorry. Thank you for the super chat. Love the tier rankings. When is Rapid Ingress episode 2? Should be coming out tomorrow, actually. It's very fun. We got to talk about TGX and a few other things. So keep an eye out for tomorrow. So Triumph. Triumph is definitely going to tournament standard. She's amazing.
Yeah, not everyone uses her in tournaments. I often don't because I like having more bodies with more attacks, with more abilities to generate miracle dice and use miracle dice. But it's really good.
She's really good. It's just the +2 movement is insane. It throws everybody off. Like when you tell people things like, oh, I move 6 inches, they know they can predict that. Oh, now I'm going 8 inches. Oh, now I have assault. So you go from just 6 inch with assault to like potentially 14-inch movement and shoot.
Bringers of Flame, it's a really good bonus because you can move and advance and shoot, and you're going super fast.
Like, she's also good in any detachment, really. But it's just, there's mind games to it. Like, oh, I'm going faster. Oh, look, now I'm going to hit you harder in melee. Oh, now the 6-up Feel No Pain seems minor, but it can save a lot.
Yeah. A 6-up Feel No Pain if you've got 2 wounds or more. So you have it on tanks, because it works on tanks. It works on Paragon Warsuits.
It works on everything. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of
these
these
are
are
when you can
out.
just, oh yeah, there's a damage 4 weapon. Paragon Warsuits have 4 wounds. I passed one of them. Oh look, my Warsuiter lives.
You have to get past that 4-up invuln. Oh, you finally did it? Too bad.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely I'd say tournament standard. You'll see her very often, just powerful abilities. And then we have the Canoness. They did change her a bit. Just a little bit.
Regular Canoness. Yeah, she's gone from don't even bother to, oh, yes.
It's like, since the free stratagem is just, it was a free battle tactic, the -1 CP cost. I don't know what GW is thinking, because it does stack, right? You could keep using that, I believe. On different
once per battle round.
Oh, once per round, right. But with different, one unit from your army, right.
Yeah.
I'm too used to guard where it's, I don't get that. Well, I only get it from one model.
Okay, yeah, so it's all your Canonesses And that includes jump canoness. I think it's the same ability name.
It is
Rites of
Sacred
Battle.
Command. It's the Canoness. It's just she's really nice now. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go join Battle Sisters. Free grenade, free whatever you need in that moment. Free grenade is
And
too
because
good.
it's if you go first, you can be like, okay, I'm prepped for Armor of Contempt, Shield of Aversion, as it's called in the Bringers of Flame.
Yep.
If you don't need to use that, then you're like, yes, here's my grenade. Here's my, we'll do devastating wounds with the 2 flamers in the squad. Why not?
You know what I see it with Purifiers? The free armor contempt with the Imagifier and Battle Sisters. So it's like, oh, 2 up, I have cover, so I'm ignoring AP2 on a 2 up.
Yes.
Where it's just
that
like,
works.
Oh.
The Hospitaler gives you more protection overall.
Yeah.
But yes, if you're in that one detachment and you have a Canoness, Imagifier, and Shield of Aversion, if you can stay at that 2+ save, that's so valuable.
Because if someone's shooting AP3 or even AP4 into Battle Sisters to get them to that invuln,
yeah.
Like, what are
you
you
never
shooting
use your
for?
6+ invulnerable save.
It's not even that you're not using the 6 up. It's like, who's shooting
The
AP4
4-up.
or AP5 into like, these sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think AP5 exists outside of like Vanquisher cannons.
Vanquishers, I'm pretty sure AP4.
Shadow Sword, AP-5.
Yeah, and Tal Railguns, like hammerheads.
Yeah, there we go.
Or buffing up stuff to be like AP6 Meltas, but who's doing that into sisters?
That's the problem.
But the Canoness herself, very nice, and I like it's a gamey, but you go up, you charge the opponent, and you activate the 2-up invuln to just be a movement block for a bit.
And that will only work if she's really by herself, otherwise the enemy will just cut through the bodyguard.
Exactly. That's why it's like by herself you can do that, where it's go up, grenade for free on herself. I believe she has grenades. And then charge and oh look, I'm a roadblock. It's movement block, which is boring, but it does work.
But then what loadout do you give her? Because there's 3 sets of loadouts.
There is. At that point, it honestly doesn't matter because she's there to stop your movement, not kill you.
Oh, well, if you're going to kill stuff, then you want the Blessed Blade. Lethal hits, 4 attacks at strength 6.
I do like the, what's it called? Condemner Bolt Gun, even if I don't get to actually use it that often.
Yeah, 2+ devastating wounds against Psychers.
And Psychers are decently common.
Depends on the meta. If you know you're fighting Thousand Suns and they're doing well in the meta at like a tournament, yeah, definitely.
I assume like you tournament game, you don't know what you're fighting. So if you want to be a generalist, probably not the Condemner Bolt Gun. Like
gives you more bullets. Otherwise, Plasma Pistol is okay.
Plasma Pistol is always good. It's always a nice fallback option. Will Anthony remember to use the grenades though? No, never. I always forget grenades, which pisses off my AdMech friend because he doesn't have grenades at all and he remembers it.
Right. Yeah, Tyranid players remember grenades.
Or Tank Shock.
Yeah, because it's not working on vehicles. It's only on vehicles, not on monsters. Yeah.
Exactly, which is... So when I forget grenade and Tank Shock, it's like, what are you doing, man?
So many abilities gone.
But Canoness, I would put her at strong. Like,
I'm thinking also strong. If you want to support Battle Sisters or any unit, reroll hit rolls of 1 with the Rod of Office. If you want to help her kill stuff, Blessed Blade instead. But it's like, you got to do one or the other. You can't pick Blessed Blade and Rod of Office because there's such a weird system in place that's been there for 2 editions now, at least, of, if you touch that weapon, you can't have all these other weapons and abilities. They're not allowed.
I don't get it. But
it's a multi-part kit now. It shouldn't be like this.
There should be more options, not less. Craft Cheese,
Combine
thank you
it
for
however
the
you want.
$5 super chat.
Yeah.
And so YouTube's telling me, let's celebrate their 5th super chat on live stream. Thank you for doing so many donations. It helps us out a lot. What do you say? How does Canis Rex do with sisters? Is he worthwhile? No. Canis Rex is the crutch for bad armies.
Canis Rex is powerful. I prefer using armigers with melter weapons. It's more on theme, and it's not as much of a points investment. You can go up and do some murdering with them. Yes. Canis Rex is still really good. If you're playing larger games, like 2,000 points upwards, it's a way to fit an army in a box. Because it's just one more model you need.
I only need 1 box to transport now instead of like 3.
Yeah.
But competitive-wise, no, you have so many available tools. He can't use army like Acts of Faith. Yeah, he crits on
Yeah.
5s, but like you have miracle dice. You have cheating dice. You don't need them.
It can be useful in tournaments because it's fewer things that you need to think about.
Yeah, if decision fatigue's becoming an issue by like the later games, it does help with that. But he's also a giant target that you can't miracle dice.
Yeah, you can not hide behind buildings with towering models anymore.
And you can walk through them.
You can walk through them, yes. Oh, yeah.
It's funny. I haven't actually had that happen to me yet. Actually, it did happen one time.
And he can complete actions without without any limitations, so he can still shoot and things.
Yes. But we have enough trash units in Sisters for it to like
Cheap
not
units.
Just garbage. It's like, here, this is doing an action. Oh, you killed them? Thanks to the miracle dice. That too. He doesn't generate miracle dice.
I think he's our only super heavy.
He is super heavy.
I think he's perfectly fine. As a choice, I would be, if you said, I have Canis Rex in my sister's army, I'd be like, good for you.
Like, this is just where we think the models are. You can take what you want still.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you may have done more playtesting than us on particular models.
Exactly. You know your army. Next up, we have the new unit, the new model, the Canoness with jump pack, and I love her. Oh my god, this is such a good model and good unit. Like,
I agree.
She finally gets to support someone that's not just the Battle Sisters. It's the Zephyrim and Seraphim finally have buff. Like
Seraphim and Zephyrim, yeah.
Yeah, like they have a jump pack character that can join them, and it's not Celestine.
Other than Celestine. Mm-hmm.
Because
I would have looked at Ephrael Stern joining them. That would have been perfect. I would have never looked at anyone else if Ephrael Stern could join them.
They're just flying loops around her because they have to use the movement if they wanted to. Just circles. But the Canoness with jump pack, 12-inch movement. And she doesn't really buff the unit outside of, a free stratagem potentially.
But if it's Bringers of Flame, then you've got your Shield of Aversion. Or you've got your, hey, my hand flamers all do devastating wounds now.
What's that? 96 plus 9 that could do devs for free? Or is it 2 CP?
It's 1 command point.
Yeah, there you go. Do it for free.
And then you just need the enhancement Fire and Fury.
Yes.
Which also, don't forget, gives all the bolt pistols sustained hits.
That is true. I actually never thought about that because I'm taking it for the flamer part.
Well, yeah, that's the main thing, but also don't lose out on all the other bullets. If the enemy still isn't dead, there's more shots.
Exactly. It's just, and her own ability of the devastating wounds and getting 3 attacks once per game. Like if you join Seraphim, I always say the names wrong for these two.
So I do it the wrong way around because I think it's like they should be both Latin, Seraphim and Zephyrim, but it's Seraphim and
Zephyrim?
Oh yeah, I said it right. I think it should be Seraphim and Seraphim, but it's Seraphim and Zephyrim. Zephyrim is Greek for wind.
It's the sisters have funny names.
Yeah.
But her own ability of the devastating wounds and 3 more attacks, I would honestly take the Blessed Halberd just for that, even though it's 1 less strength. Because, 5 attacks to 8 attacks with dev wounds, and you can get lance.
They're all damage too.
They're all damage too, and they're all AP too.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, going to strength 6 is actually a pretty big damage, toughness barrier. But the 2 extra attacks over it from the Eviscerator, I don't know, I like that.
But then you are losing a hand flamer if you're going for the more Seraphim and Fire and Fury approach.
Yes, like if you're not Bringers of the Flame, Blessed Halberd with her ability, charging in, Army of Face Lance, and just nuke something. I think they could do that.
That could work. But when she's joining the Zephyrim as well, that's the only way her power weapons get bonuses from them. Because the Blessed Halberd and Holy Eviscerator don't.
Her abilities only apply to the power weapon?
Yes, it says power weapon, and so it's like she has a power weapon, it works with the Zephyrim.
I like the extra stuff on the Blessed Halberd in this case.
That's fine. I did a video on all the different options, and all of them work.
Yeah, they do all work. They have their place. It was a good release by GW. Everything works. The abilities are good. The model's cool. And it fills a niche.
Well, it replaces a niche. Get out Celestine, put in the Canoness.
This alone bumped down Celestine a rank.
Well, yeah.
But
I think we're saying tournament standard for this character.
yes, exactly. Tournament standard because I haven't not seen her.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Katherine is a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's taking Seraphim as well because they're so good for moving up very quickly. You move 12 inches, you fire one bolt pistol at something, you move an extra 6 inches, and now you're on an objective.
Yeah, exactly. They do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And
now
she
we
can
have
help,
the Palatine.
potentially. Well, she makes them murdery.
The Palatine is the same as ever. It's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you always need her now, but she fills the same role as before. She didn't really change. Still joins the same units. Is there one?
No, she's gained Retributor squad.
There it is, Retributors.
Which you don't need her with.
Yeah, which that if anything, that's just gonna get the Palatine killed quicker, because those Retributors are getting focused.
The Palatine, yeah, it's pointless there. She's a combat character, so she wants to be with Novitiates, Celestine Sacresants, or moving up quickly with Battle Sisters and Dominions.
Yes.
When you've got 10 sisters and they all have lethal hits, it's a lot more valuable.
With all those extra shots, like, oh, here's Storm Bolters, Heavy Bolter, whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah. I put her in a squad with a Storm Bolter and a Heavy Bolter, usually. But I also like her with Dominions, but not with Flamers, with Melter Guns. Then at least all of the Bolt Guns are also a lot better.
What do you think of her with Sacresants?
It works okay. You've got to have the right combat weapons. Because the Celestine Sacresants, one of their weapons, the halberds give them sustained hits, the maces give them lethal hits, which they would already get from the Palatine. So if you've got maces, no, don't put them with the Palatine. If you have the halberds, then you're getting lethal hits and sustained hits, and she's harder to kill, and she's getting into combat and doing a lot more murdery stuff. I did a video all about the many ways you can make the Palatine kill things.
It's kind of amazing. Like, she only has one weapon, yet here's 4 different use cases for her.
Mm-hmm. Depends on the detachment, because there's a combat-related enhancement in all the detachments.
Yeah. Blade on her is very nice. Both versions now.
Yeah, so that's St. Eleanor's Blade, as was in the Hallowed Martyrs, which is now called... what's it called? I'll find it.
Where's my codex?
Through Suffering Strength. That's it. Yeah, through Suffering Strength, which gives you bonuses to your attacks and your damage and your strength, and it's even more if you are injured.
Yeah, it's the Index Blade.
Yes. And whereas the new Blade of St. Eleanor is in the Army of Faith, and it gives you precision. Wonderful. Let's apply some devastating wounds to enemy characters, and you also get an extra point of armor penetration.
It's like, oh, look, Army of Faith. Oh, you have a 4-wound captain? 2 devs. Or 2, whatever it's called.
The devastating wounds, it's like, it's not actually devastating wounds, it's mortal wounds on top of the normal damage.
Exactly. Which is like, I'm just, devs and mortals, they're this mostly same now.
Mostly the same, yes. It's just that she isn't doing like 2 damage mortal wounds because she has a 2 damage sword.
Yes.
It's an extra mortal wound on top of the regular damage.
And then if it goes off, oh, look, you get a miracle dice back.
Yeah, if you kill any one dude. So in that case, with the Blade of St. Eleanor, I'd say stab a random bodyguard model, then go for the character.
You know what's kind of funny?
Depends how risky you want to be.
If the
Depends
enemy
how
has
many
like
wounds
low count left, like they have a bodyguard with 2 models left and a character, and you get them both, oh, look, 2 miracle dice.
Is it each time?
It's each time, in addition, each time the bearer fights, if one or more.
Yeah.
That always gets
just
me
get the
one or
one.
more. I tried to be cheeky.
That's great. That's great. Still tournament standard, I think.
I don't know if you'll see her every time. You'll just see her almost every single time.
If you're playing Hallowed Martyrs, she comes up a lot. Bringers of Flame, less so, but still can be there. Penitent Host, absolutely. Always there in Penitent Host because you can give her an enhancement and then she joins Repentia. And then Repentia have lethal hits and sustained hits and can get both on a 5+ with a stratagem.
I missed the 5-point enhancement for that.
Yeah, that was in the Codex where it was 5 points.
Have you ever seen another 5-point enhancement? What were they thinking?
I mean, I have, but it's things like re-roll a battle shock test in the Xeno Creed for Genestealer Cult.
Or like once in the game, do one thing.
Yeah.
like reroll a dice. I don't know. That was just hilarious. It's like I immediately saw like, wait, lethal hits on like flagellants.
I mean, Divine Aspect is still 5 points, where you generate a miracle dice if an enemy fails a battle shock test within 12.
Yeah, but you have to get near the enemy.
A battle shock. Yeah, you have to be close to the enemy. Palatine's going to be, but yeah, you want the stabby sword on her.
Let's see. Next up, we have I'm not saying the whole name. Aestred.
Aestred and Agatha.
Yeah. I still really like them, especially with the buff. They're so expensive now, though.
Yeah, how many points are we looking for Aestred and Agatha? They are 85 points. Their ability changed, so it's devastating wounds in shooting or in combat.
Which is very, very nice. But, you know, you have the classic issue of, like, that's really expensive, and dev wounds aren't always a guarantee.
Yeah, it's useful if you've got Storm Bolters. If you put her in a unit of Dominions with Storm Bolters, that's a lot of damage too that can be turned into 2 mortal wounds.
Yes. I do like it. It's just, like, with Retributors especially, like, oh, look, Meltas with dev wounds. You get 1 turn of that, and then it's gone. And that's going to be very expensive.
Yeah, unless you go with Battle Sisters instead, then you've got 1 Melter gun, 1 multi-melter. That's 3 shots rather than 8, but yeah.
3 shots, and the melter gun has to get in range. That's always nerve-wracking. And they're just too expensive for what I like now.
You do get miracle dice when you kill a unit.
Yeah, and you get more when one of them dies. Agatha.
Yeah, when Agatha dies, you get D3.
I don't know. It's just I like them. I like them.
Okay. I would say situational.
I don't even know about that. Yes, I'll say situational since I do like them. Dev wounds is always very nice to have, but I don't think they're as useful as like even Stern. Stern, I personally find a lot of use for because just deep strike is powerful, small footprint, actions, all that. Well, this is something that wants to kill.
Fights first, assassination. I really like precision. I've liked precision since the start of the edition when lots of people were using Vindicare assassins, and then suddenly it trickled out having Vindicares. They're like, oh, we'll get the characters eventually.
Yeah, because in some people's mind, just overkill the unit and the character goes with it. Precision has like, people are surprised by it now. They're like, wait, you can do that to me? And it just really
so good. So I like the Gene Stealer called Xeno Creed, where it's like, no, I have a 3+ feel no pain on these characters.
3+ is ridiculous. I only know a few other things in the game that have a 3+ feel no pain against something. Like
what else
Sisters of Silence. They get it against mortals.
Oh, right, yep.
Psychic and mortals, which means they get it against dev wounds now.
Yeah, they do. That's really good. That's part of why the what's it called, where you have all the Sisters of Silence detachment.
Null Maiden Vigil.
Yes. That was good in one tournament. And you got things like bolt guns that are precision.
Yep.
Great for just, bloop, there goes a character.
But yeah, we agree that Palatine is tournament standard, definitely.
Palatine tournament standard, Agatha is situational.
Yes, Aestred. Yeah. I looked at the top, I'm like, oh, look, Palatine. The Imagifier is next up, and I still like the character. I find way less use for her now. Because
the Imagifier has gotten better. I'm still a Hospitaler enjoyer.
I like it. It's just usually the buffs you get from it, you're still a T3 1 wound model on most of the stuff she can join.
I think all the stuff she can join.
Yes, but her buffs, other characters, I don't know. It's just, do you need a 4-up invuln on someone that already has a 2-up?
I mean, usually ignore the 4+ invuln part and just go, yeah, it's a 2+ save. That's really important. It's, halving the number of failed saves if you can stay at that 2+.
That's always 1s and 2s
failing to just 1s. I use her. It works. If you can have a block of sisters with an Imagifier on an objective, they're a lot harder to shift than anyone would think.
For me, I think it's the feedback with her. You don't feel the feedback of like her directly doing something. It's, did she really save that unit, or were they going to be fine anyway?
Yeah, you'd have to measure the number of dice you rolled and think, it probably would have worked, and is it worth 65 points?
Did she stop that?
That's the other question.
It's like, did she stop the enemy unit from shooting you because you're too tanky? or were they just not going to shoot them anyway because of where you are?
Yeah.
It's very hard to get feedback on her, which makes her sometimes feel bad. Like, did I really need her? And then other times where it's like, wow, that was absurdly powerful.
I would say strong or situational. I would
say strong just because that armor contempt plus cover in like a sisters unit, a 10-man sisters unit.
Yeah, although you're not really seeing many Imagifiers and Bringers of Flame like tournament lists.
No.
But that is an option.
That's my mind with it, since if I'm going to take an Imagifier, personally it'd be that detachment. While with the other detachments, do I really need her?
Yeah, in that case, we go with Hospitaler instead. Yeah. I mean, Hallowed Martyrs, you kind of want to take damage.
Exactly.
Penitent Host doesn't care. So Army of Faith is more Hospitaler than Imagifier.
It is.
So it's that one detachment. Maybe situational then. That one detachment, and you want to do something with the character.
That's kind of like peak situational, where it's like specifically this time, it's good.
Yeah.
Which you're not always going to have. Because I can see tournament games where it's like you go up against someone and waste of points.
Oh yeah, I do devastating wounds or something because of crazy psychic lightning.
It's like I dev anyway. Oh, I ignore cover anyway, so you're still going to save at 3s. Or just
I've gone to black for some reason. Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, sorry. My main monitor broke, so I can't keep both active at once.
Okay, that's fine.
Dialogist. She's still very good.
Dialogus. Yes. Now, where do we put the Dialogus?
Have you ever not seen her?
Oh, yeah. It's entirely optional to not take her. But I'm finding that the Dialogus, she goes by herself. She's just the cheapest thing in our army list, so you use her to complete actions and secondary missions.
A great action.
That's it.
I know. It's just, her ability's still nice with Retributors.
At that point, I think people are thinking too much of the index. So it's, oh yeah, Retributors and Dialogus jumping out of an immolator. But no, it's too many points. The Retributors themselves are too many points. You're adding to that, and you're still dying very easily.
Yes, because
so
that bodyguard unit is squishy.
You use the Dialogus if you're doing sisters with melter weapons, and you're going to have multiple 6s. So especially Army of Faith. But you can live like without her in tournaments. But if you're using her properly in tournaments, which is like in quotation marks, I see her points are going to go up come the next points change. And she'll be like, oh yeah, this is also like 50 points or something. And then the Dogmata will be the cheapest thing we have. And suddenly everyone will be like, Dogmata tournament standard.
You know why this happened? They got rid of Crusaders.
Yeah, they got rid of Crusaders and your Death Cult Assassins.
You have to find a new unit that just does actions.
There's still the 3 Arco-flagellants.
Yeah. It's nice. But the giving up Assassinate for just doing actions sucks. Not sucks, it's annoying.
Are people taking fixed objectives assassinating that often? Because my sisters, I have like 4 characters. You're not getting your maximum victory points from that.
My list have 8. That's why I keep seeing that. I'm like, do I really want like 10 characters?
10 characters. I see.
Yeah, so when I play sisters, it's always like, assassinate.
Right.
Which,
okay.
I don't know, I'd put her in... But should she even go in situational? Like, she has her use of actions, which...
I would say strong.
Strong?
I don't use her all the time. I can survive a match perfectly fine without her. But strong is where I put it. I see her often in tournament lists, but not all the tournament lists.
Not all tournament. That's, I think, the main thing with it. It's not all tournament lists.
Yeah, it's something that the tournament players consider before they go ahead with their list. They're not like, okay, that goes in, moving on.
Exactly. Next up is the Minister and Priest. The picture in the Codex is actually the other Blackstone model, the guy with the book. Well, the one on the website is the one you see there.
Because that's the only one you can buy at the moment.
Luckily, I have all the Blackstone models. I love Blackstone Fortress.
Oh, it was a really fun game and got you really cool characters and so many bits. The Psychers, the Chaos Psychers, I used part of them to make my own like living saint model, which is now either Celestine, Ephrael Stern, or a jump pack Canoness as I require.
Perfect. Yeah, it's always great doing stuff like that. The Priest, though, I do miss having the Missionary and Priest, because I loved putting, the ability to get more miracle dice when he dies on one of them. The guy that, I think it was the missionary that buffed up his attacks, or was that the priest? The one that buffed up his attacks, and he would just go up, run, die, get me more miracle dice, and then I would revive
the missionary boosted his own attacks as long as he wasn't battle shocked.
Yeah. But it was always great because I would give one just the ability to generate more miracle dice, revive him, and do it again.
Yes, that works. That works in the Hallowed Martyrs. You would have to use Divine Intervention to resurrect your character, and it's Saintly Example to get D3 extra mortal wound, D3 extra miracle dice when you die. Each time you die.
That was my miracle generation in the index. You see why people took Assassinate against me?
Well, it works. I can't remember if I ever used Saintly Example. I put it on if I had, like, the spare points.
Yeah. But having the 2 was nice, but it's just combined here. It's basically the same weapon options, just not the shotgun.
Yeah, you've lost the shotgun, which let you advance and still do actions in Leviathan.
But you can't do that in Pariah anyway.
Yeah, it's okay without.
He's very nice, especially with Penitent Crusade, Penitent Horde.
The Penitent Host, because that is the only character that naturally has the Penitent keyword.
Yes, and add 1 to wound rolls is ridiculous. Especially on, like, Repentias. Oh, look, I was wounding your tanks on 5s, and now it's 4s with full rerolls to hit and wound. Yes.
You will need to take the enhancement to do that, because he can't normally join Repentia. No one can join Repentia.
Yeah. But I would take it just for that. I still always argue in my head, like, is it better to have +1 to wound or lethal hits because of the Palatine? Where it's like, that's where my arguments always are. It's like, this or the Palatine, lethal or +1.
But then you've also got to think, do I want a heavy flamer or do I want mortal wounds?
Exactly, where it's like, I think the +1 to wound is more reliable, but the mortal wounds is going to kill.
It might be the priest you were thinking of, the preacher, who has the zealot ability to give himself 3 extra attacks.
Yes. And there's, like, extra strength and other stuff.
Yeah, 3 extra attacks, 3 extra strength.
Him, then I put the blade, the old blade, and the other one got the Saintly Example.
Yeah, that works. Funny. When I did a Ministorum only list of just no sisters allowed, all Arco-flagellants and priests, I did the same.
It worked. And he could still technically do it, just you could attach him to characters like cleanly now, just very nice. Attach him to units.
If you want your Arco-flagellants to be a bit more like the index version of Arco-flagellants, this is where you can go.
Yes, because it
doesn't cost
50 attacks points with 10 now? Is it 50 or 60?
Yeah, it's not as good, and they're not as survivable.
They're not as survivable. Well, we'll get to flagellants at the end there. You'll see that there, because my boys. Let's see. I would put the priest. I don't know where I would put him. I would say, like, he's nice in Penitent Host, but that detachment got its teeth kicked in. And do we want to just put him in a high spot because of a detachment that you might not even be taking? No.
Yeah, considering how the detachments have gone, people are just saying, right, penitent things just disappear from lists entirely. You might see a mortifier. That's about it.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say he's bad, just situational.
Yeah. Because, they've retained, the stronger of the two between the missionary and the preacher.
Yes. It's like, you don't... What's it called with him? I don't know. He's nice. I don't think anything's like really good grief GWY. Like just the worst tier because...
Not in the Sisters Army, no.
But next up we have your favorite, Hospitaler. Did I say it right?
I do. Hospitaler, yep.
I always get joked on for how
everyone says it apart from like one small part of the United States is Hospitaler. Everywhere else in the world is Hospitaler.
I've never heard that other version.
All right.
I usually just pronounce it wrong because funny. But
well, if you've got Palatines and don't know your Zephyrim from your Seraphim and Seraphim.
They just have to go with these names: Greek, Latin, all of the above. But
German I think German is Hospitaler, or it might come from Latin.
But for her.
Yes.
Very nice
Yes.
ability. Like both of the abilities are just
feel no
so
pain
good.
is good. Bring back people.
Unfortunately, excluding characters for reviving them. Damn, I can't just keep reviving a Palatine.
Their craft cheese calls it Hospitaler.
Hospitaler. I think he's just messing
Whereas
with
everyone
us.
else is Hospitaler.
But the abilities are so nice. I just her with Junith just to make a Battle Sisters unit. Like, yes, please attack me.
-1 to hit and 5+ feel no pain.
And reviving if you do actually get them.
Yeah, I love the revival. It's so fun. In smaller games, especially, where there isn't as much, oh yeah, I wipe out your unit entirely. So very powerful.
Oh yeah. Like if you're doing, like you said, a 1,000-point game, that's a lot of points coming back every like turn.
Yeah, I've been asking like the community that I, have, and then so many people are like, yeah, I play multiple 1,000-point games because I prefer that over 2,000-point games. The people who like 2,000-point games have knights. Actually, no, knight players don't like that because then they have to take the big knights.
Yeah.
They want all the small ones.
It's nice having that perspective here because I don't think I've played a 1,000-point game in like 2 years.
Really? It's fun. People should do it.
It's fun.
It's so much quicker.
I'm so used to like, I gotta go practice for a tournament. I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
I'm doing a battle.
Then it's like, I'm gonna get this game in 3 hours. Come on. No, just shove a pile of people there and call it done.
Here's a
Ignore
combat
some shooting
patrol.
because it'll probably do nothing. No, come on, fire your lethal hit bolt guns at that land raider. It might scrap a wound or two off, and then it'll be important.
I hate that I slowly turned into that where it's like, yeah, but what if my last guns do a damage? It could help later. Just the reviving is so good. You do have to revive within like a range of the models that started on the board. If you don't know that with the Necrons, because when they revived 15 guys and they had one guy left, it essentially had to go around that one guy.
Yeah, you get rings within rings.
Exactly, because you can't revive off of a revived model.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like within coherency of the people who were already alive.
But I'm going to revive through this wall to touch that objective to take it.
That can happen. Yep.
That, and then it's like, oh, you did 4 damage to me? Well, now I'm back behind the wall. Nothing else could shoot me, and I revive back onto it. Especially
that could work.
It's in the command phase, so you might be able to do it before the, like... What's the thing on the Battle Sisters called? The flag? Sickle of Arm? I always say it wrong.
It's the simulacrum, which does... Yeah, the simulacrum to get you miracle dice.
Yes. So imagine you revive onto objective, and if it says in your command phase, oh, now I'm on that objective, more miracle dice.
Yep, it's all at the end of the command phase. You also stick the objective at the end of the command phase. Those are the ones that work.
Yes. It's... there's some cheese you could do with the ability, some cheeky stuff.
And reviving, OC2 models, now I have the objective again.
It's amazing. I love it. I don't know if it'd be tournament standard because it is on Battle Sisters for the most part. Like, I don't know if you would put it on the Sacresants. No. I don't know if you'd really put it on them.
I have seen it there, but it didn't work so much because
they're expensive.
They're 1 wound and toughness 3, regardless of their invulnerable save.
I do like her.
So
I'd say
you could
strong.
go with Dominions, but yeah, it's strong.
You have
definitely
stuff
strong.
You can do with it. If not, it's only on a Battle Sister squad, essentially. But I'd say better than the Dialogist because, she does feedback. There's actual feedback to this.
Better than the Imagifier, you mean?
No, I have the Imagifier way below her.
All right, okay.
I like the Imagifier, but there's a lack of feedback to know if it actually had an impact.
Right.
The Dogmata, the one character I always forget that exists.
Ah, yes, the Dogmata. Well, I found a use for her.
You did?
In the Army of Faith, some of the enhancements give you extra miracle dice depending on passing a leadership test or the enemy failing a leadership test. She makes enemy leadership worse, so is worth like for 5-point enhancement. She also has the best leadership in the game outside of, best leadership in the Battle Sisters army outside of the characters, like the named characters like Morvenn Vahl.
Yeah.
So if you want to generate a miracle dice just by passing a leadership test, she works.
She does work well for that. She reminds me of, since you play Gene Seer, called Clamavis. A bit. Well, the Clamavis's main job is, no deep strike here, please. Stay away from me and my terrible music. But I've actually had his, leadership aura really help.
Mm-hmm.
It helps when it helps. I just noticed she's a 6-up invuln as well, when most characters are 4-up.
Yep, even the Dialogus got the 4-up invulnerable save.
And yeah, wow. Oh, that's definitely a thing. I'm surprised by it because I never use her.
Yeah, since 8th edition, no one really does.
I mostly just remember her for the angry face.
She has an okay mace. That's about the extent of it.
Wow, amazing model. What can we say about her? Her mace is okay.
Yeah.
Improving
but you would pick
OC
a
by
Palatine
1
instead.
Actually, improving the OC by 1 could be big with Battle Sisters, just because if you have OC 0, you can't do actions.
Yeah,
and some people
and she
have
can
like
boost battle shock units back to OC 1. Like, she does stuff.
That won't help you with actions, because if you're battle shocked, you can't do an action. But if someone lowered your OC, she could help with that.
Yeah, but you can still hold objectives and score primary from having OC 0 going to OC 1.
Yes. But honestly,
the primary is the primary. The secondary is the secondary.
I think with the Sacresants, I would like that just for because if they go down by 1, say from Rust Stalkers, Justin, they could still do actions.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly kind of think bad choice.
Yeah, bad choice. Not good grief. Why? Because she does stuff. Things happen when you include her.
You're not going to show up to a table with her and people are going to give you like a side eye. So it's just bad choice.
Yeah. Whereas if I put a Gene Stealer called Magus on the table, people are like, oh, so Xenocreed or what's happening in your head?
Look, I like the Magus. And they did nerf her. What's it called? Battle Sister Squad. The classic. You are definitely going to have these.
You can survive without them. I've said since the very start of the index, you can survive without Battle Sister Squads. You just may not want to.
That's the thing. You could do that with anyone, though. It's like, here's a core unit. You can survive without it, but you do want it. It's a core unit to me. Like, you want these.
There's a big debate going on in my channel between Dominions or Battle Sisters. Which one is better? Some people are hands down Battle Sisters. Some people are like, well, Dominions also generate Miracle Dice now, so give me Dominions. And then I get Melters and Flamers.
Because of that, I would just want one Battle Sister Squad and the rest Dominions.
That's a way to do it. Otherwise, I go like 2-1. If your Bringers of Flame, Dominions work really well. I know they have Assault on most of their weapons anyway, but you get so much more. You get the higher strength. You're getting in there to do the damage. Battle Sisters
exist.
They're really good blocks.
That's
10 Battle Sisters with a Hospitaler can survive on an objective.
They have options. I like that. It's nice to have the sticky. Even though, like, personally, I'm not a big fan of sticky, because once you walk off, they're gonna take it, no matter where it is, even your home.
It works well late game. Yes. If you can keep the enemy back, and it's like, oh, well, I have 2 objectives that are sticky objectives, and I'm still scoring primary off them, even though I have 1 unit left on the board.
It might be nice to have like a 5-man just for that, where it's like they just stay on the side, kind of forgotten about, and then they walk across the board.
Yeah. If you can just have it as they're going on a pilgrimage through your home objective, all of the mid-board objectives, slowly through the course of the game, they all become sticky, that can work.
But yes, reminding me about Dominions, I'm like, oh yeah, wait, I like them way more than Sisters.
Okay. I'm a 2-1 like Battle Sisters to Dominions.
2-1.
I don't need that many Dominions.
I'd say 1-2 just for the extra abilities. Especially because same cost. It's the same cost thing that gets me.
Yeah, I think they're about the same value.
Sisters, where would I put them?
Strong.
They're definitely strong just because they're your core. You will have at least one. I like it better than that. But next up we have Novitiates. I've only used them once, actually, because it's nice to have them at home as like a screen, just cheap screening. But
that's not their job anymore.
That's not their job anymore. Like, I still like doing that, but their melee output is just why? Why are they so good at melee?
Well, you definitely go for the melee version rather than the shooting version, but have 2 flamers. 2 flamers is quite nice. But they infiltrate and then they hold an objective from the start of the game. You can generate miracle dice immediately if you go first. You can start completing actions and secondary objectives from the start of the game, and they're a very big buffer because 10 models are annoying to get through. If you split with them with an Imagifier, with an Immolator, yes, 5 of them have to go in the Immolator, but there's a party bus with a Palatine.
It's a party bus with a Palatine, and they, I don't know, they are weak, like squishier, but they're cheap. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's actually, Craft Cheese brings up a good point with Battle Line on the Battle Sisters is actually pretty needed now.
It's a little bit extra. It's not like, oh, this is so important, I absolutely need it, but it's like a sprinkling on top. A lot of the different like preset missions that are in the Games Workshop Tournament Companion Handbook are things where battle line units can advance and still perform actions, or they can shoot and still perform actions.
Or more importantly, secret missions.
Yeah, also secret missions. I've been in the thought of, I'll stick with primary because I know what primary is, and I know I can focus on that the whole game through. And I don't need to think, but secret missions, I need them. But yeah, having battle line units still alive, if you have an Imagifier, if you have a Hospitaler, there we go.
It's not so much as like, oh, I need to do a secret mission. It's, if you don't have battle line and they're losing, battle line secret mission for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's the scary thing, or it's like, say you're fighting guard, I reinforce my infantry squad, and I'm now in your back line, and you don't have battle line. Free 20 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you just want like a anti-secret mission thing?
So at least one. At least one.
At least one. I would always say at least one, even if you split it.
You can be a really good like tournament player and be like, I know everything, I know what everything is going to be doing at every second of the game, but it rarely lasts like that for like the second or third game of a tournament day.
Or if you're like one of the unlucky, like you get unlucky and go very high up and you have to do more games in a day. Oh no, I have to play more Warhammer.
It's like, please let me lose.
Anyway,
it's those day 2 things.
The Novitiates, they're good. Infiltrate is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just as counter infiltrate.
Yeah, having done it with Genestealer Cult every single day, all of the time, it's really good. I've also done it with the Deceptors detachment with the Chaos Space Marines, and just you flood the board with sticky cultists and legionaries. And now your army is so much closer to the enemy, and they do not like that.
Especially if you go first turn when doing infiltrate, it's just, oh look, I'm right there.
Yeah, we've gone from I'm in my deployment zone to no, your deployment zone is my deployment zone.
Imagine more like you infiltrate, you get first turn, and then you walk Katherine up to get 2 more inch movement. You are in their face immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Sacred
I would
banner.
probably not do it with the Novitiates, though. They're not quite a run-in stab things.
No, but it's a funny idea. I like finding funny ideas, and then like 3 months down the line, I'm like, wait, that funny idea I had actually works now.
Yes, it can work. It's good to have these things on paper and then try them, because so many things I've tried just did not work out.
Always try your stuff. Like, what's it called? Just try your things. If you think up a list, even if it seems dumb, try it, see what works.
This is why armchair gamers do not give good advice.
Oh, yeah. If someone like just, how do I put it? Yeah, just armchair games. Like, believe people who play the game. Like, if someone you know has 20 games with an army and they say, I don't like this thing, there's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it seems good on paper. But
yeah, you get so much of that. Like, Retributors in an Immolator. People keep doing it. And
I still like it. It's too expensive.
No, when I see it in my opponent's army, I'm like, great, I'm going to win. Victory is near.
Yeah, it's a fun thing, though, just because it's a classic thing now. But Novitiates, where would we put them?
We're putting them
situational.
Strong.
Oh, you want strong?
I want strong.
I think situational, just because infiltrate is nice. They are squishy though, and they do.
But miracle dice, cheapest way to get extra miracle dice outside of enhancements
and flagellants.
Yes, I'm dying.
Dying. What are we dying? I'll put them at like bottom of strong, just because I like them, but you're also kind of feeding your opponent some stuff. Like, imagine if they get no prisoners and you have 2 of them up there.
Okay, they were probably going to score no prisoners with 2 anyway, considering the size of our units and toughness.
just you always got to think about the secondaries, just because, oh look, this person drew a card exactly on the first turn that they need that they couldn't before. I've had moments like that where it's like, I'm forward deployed, I go second, fine, they're hiding, and they draw a card that makes them want to rush me.
Oh, I love it when they do that. Easy counterattack.
It's fine. It depends what you're fighting. Dominion Squad. Yes, this is the one. Scout. Oh, I love Scout.
Mm-hmm.
Scout is very
nice.
good, especially in a Rhino or an Immolator. But
Immolator's a good one to split the Dominions with, because while Battle Sisters have sticky and can travel around the board, if you have 5 Dominions staying on your home objective with the Simulacrum to generate Miracle Dice, that works.
Yep, and the other 5 go in the transport and just rush up.
Yep, and then you use Meltaguns and Flamers.
Or actions.
One or the other.
Probably Meltaguns. The Flamers are nice when, you're the Purifying Flame detachment. But Meltas are, when it spikes, oh look, take, 18 damage.
It makes tanks disappear. Mm-hmm.
Sisters are the one thing that make my tanks nervous. Just because Sisters are a premier trade-up army, and please don't trade up with your infantry into my tank.
Yeah.
It makes me sad. Dominions are
But I
very
think
good,
it's more the Bringers of the Flame that's doing that. I mean, yes, there's Miracle Dice. If you have enough Miracle Dice, then you can do it on wound rolls and get the wound rolls in. Meltaguns and, Storm Bolters, that's where I'm thinking I would want a Palatine.
Meltagun, Storm Bolters, yeah.
Obviously not with the Flamers because they auto-hit, so they can't ever get lethal hits.
But what if you want the funny? It's like, why'd you do that? I don't know.
Well, I'm going to try having a Palatine with the enhancement, the Fire and Fury, on a Dominion squad with Flamers and Bolters.
That's interesting.
I'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I'll stick with it just on Seraphim.
If it works out well, I'll copy it. Just because...
Well, yeah. That's the whole point of doing a channel. It's not so, I am so smart, look at how smart I am. It's so other people can copy.
It's like, oh, look,
and
big
learn.
brain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Dominion Squad's definitely going strong, though. Like, they're very good.
I would say tournament standard. I've not seen a tournament list that doesn't have at least 1 unit. 1 to 3 is what I'm seeing with Dominions.
You're right, especially because of the reactive move. Just like, I had that happen to me. I rolled up on a Sisters. I'm like, okay, Punisher is going to get rid of those 5 models, and they're in the tank.
Yep, they go back in the tank.
Yeah, it's like reminding me of that where I'm like, you know what? That is brutal against me.
Oh, you don't have the Repressor or the Legends units here, but the Repressor can do the same thing.
Sadly, no Legends.
Disappear back into a tank.
Legends
when
are
the enemy tries to charge you. Yeah.
I do like Legends. There's a lot of fun Legends models, but almost every game is essentially a tournament game. That's just how the community is now. So you're never going to see it.
It depends where you are.
If I'm going to a store game and someone wants to do Legends
models on the table, most people will not care.
Yeah. If it's a pickup game, I really don't care. But a lot of people even treat pickup games like, no, this is match play.
Oh, but Games Workshop released a thing saying we have everyday match play. Legends are for everyday match play. They did it again. They said, please use your Legends units. And then only in tournaments is it banned.
It is only banned in tournaments, but that's just how
But
people
then it's, if you're practicing for a tournament, well, in my local groups, they say, hey, unlike normal, I am prepping for a tournament. It is this many points.
Yeah.
Please be accommodating to me.
Don't definitely tell people if they're going to do
list.
Yeah, don't just show up and be like, okay, this is a tournament list. Be like, I'm coming to practice a tournament. Please bring a tournament list. But Seraphim Squad, very good, very nice. Oh, the Canoness with jump pack with them is great.
Yep.
Just automatic 6 move. Just
outside of Bringers of the Flame, Army of Faith, they are exceptional. You don't have them deep strike. You need to learn to not deep strike with the Seraphim. Look, when you're doing tournament level stuff, people know how to screen them out.
Yes. I would say it depends on the matchup as well, though. Just because you pick before. It's not always deep strike or never deep strike. It's what works best here.
But they're better at the back. And in Army of Faith, you can just have a line of them behind your sisters in range of multiple units, and like, oh, we all have -1 to hit now.
-1 to hit. They're just so nice. It's just the shoot and move where I like it with Deep Strike, because if someone had their objective a little open, like they're on one side of it, Deep Strike on the opposite, Deep Strike in, and then walk on the objective. Thanks. There goes your, I don't know what I would say, secure no man's land.
Secure your home objective. Yep, all of them.
Oh, especially that one where people are like, oh, they're too far away. Not much they can do. Oh, look, I'm going to go up, shoot, and move.
Well, bring us a flame detachment, move 12 inches, and advance, possibly with a triumph. And then move afterwards. Like so now we're going...
Up to 20 inches. Plus 6, 26. Oh, boy. That is almost as fast as Magnus with Temporal Surge.
Yeah, he's not as powerful. Oh, he's only done that once now?
It's only once now.
They changed Magnus. I just look at Magnus and I'm like, I have Condemner bolt guns ready if you want to play him, just saying.
He's not going 30 or 42 inches anymore, so there's that.
Good.
Yes, very good. Seraphim, though, let's go 30. Flamers are nice. I always take the Flamers. I don't know about you.
Everyone's taking the Flamers at the moment.
Did you take the Melta pistols before?
I did, yeah. When we could have... It was 8th edition, though. So there was a stratagem that increased the range of the Melta pistols, so they worked from Deep Strike.
Yeah, that was nice. But especially not having it from Deep Strike, and then Flamers are just longer range, auto-hitting. More shots.
If you're going to jump over things, having them in my side of the board to then be like, aha, there's your elite infantry, your Tyranid warriors, your light tanks. I'm going to jump at you with Inferno pistols.
God, the Inferno
but generally, I'm thinking hand flamers. I do a mix. I'm a crazy person who mixes.
Oh, wow. You
like
don't
3 hand flamers and some Inferno pistols.
You don't want to keep it simple and just be like 8 flamers or 8 meltas.
No.
What are you saying? Better different weapons for
useful.
different situations? How could you?
Whatever I get myself into, I can get myself out of it. And when you're playing smaller games especially, versatility is key.
Meltas in smaller games can be brutal.
Yeah.
But
what I like doing was just getting close, point blank range Melta pistol, disappear characters.
Fly behind a corner. Oh, look, now I'm in cover.
Yeah, they no longer have the... when they didn't fly. 8th edition, they were just so good. When you could fly, so it was fall back and still shoot. Yeah.
Fall back, still shoot, or just, not having to worry about your angles when going up crates. That fly rule still gets me.
Fly actually flies.
But I want to game it and have infinite vertical height.
Oh, no. I mean, that was stopped as long as the board doesn't have infinite vertical height.
Exactly. But I'm definitely putting them in strong. And maybe you turn them standard. You see them pretty
tournament
often.
Standard.
Yeah. Because
they're so often there.
I'm trying to think of a game where I didn't see them, and I can't remember one.
Exactly.
They at least had something.
Exactly.
I'd say better than the Dominions.
Then we're looking at points cost. Well, you can have a cheaper version at 85 points, or your more expensive 10 with 170. That's bringing you more flamers. But if you want melter guns instead, you have Dominions.
It's just the speed for me, where it's speed is so good. Jetpacks. I wish
Dominions
I had jetpacks.
Advance and shoot, though. But yes, jetpacks.
Zephyrim squad, or how did you say it?
Yeah, Zephyrim.
Oh, okay. What did I say before? Seraphim? No.
Seraphim. Seraphim is the wrong version.
So
I've got it wrong before. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Zephyrim. Think of the Greek god Zephyr.
I love these ones so much. I still find them really good just because of all the different stuff they can do. They have, I'd say, a better ability than shoot and move for what they do. Because, yes, they only have bolt and plasma pistols, but they're melee. They have power swords, power weapons. So it's if you have 10 of them, 30 attacks on the charge, and then if you make that charge, miracle dice, sustained and lethal. Oh, Army of the Faith, Lance. It's just, it's so nice. And you're going to have miracle dice to spare with Armies of the Faith. So it's just...
You should do, yeah.
Imagine you don't. Something went wrong.
Well, bad miracle dice are what you spend. You throw it on these guys.
Yeah, it's like sustained,
ladies.
lethal, 30 attacks, so that's like 5 lethals plus they go right back in on top of lance to like wound at least most things on 5s or 4s. Well, AP2 is nice to bring people to invuln. Like this would hurt even to Custodes.
Yeah. Every time I've fought against them, I've been able to kill them pretty quickly. If there's ever anything with fights first, it goes straight against them.
Yeah. This is the one that I would deep strike most of the time, just because they have the reroll charge.
Yep, that's their sacred banner, naturally part of the unit.
You try to make it. It's a 9-inch charge. You'll probably not make it. And if you don't, oh, look, I reroll. I'm Armies of the Faith, 2 dice.
You can't use 2 on the charge roll, though.
Here's a 6.
Yeah, there's a 6. Or as high as you got.
As high as you got. It's like, I don't know. I really like it.
Not seeing them in tournaments, though.
I know. That's the thing. It's like, I have my opinions on stuff where it's like, but you're not seeing in tournaments. I know. It makes me sad not seeing them.
And my separate thought of, I play more casual games, and I don't see them in casual games either. It's, if people have them, they are now considering them after the index compared to now we're in the codex. They weren't taking them in the index. Now they're like, I have a unit and I want to play with it.
That is it. It's just, maybe that's how I am, and I'm just coping with it. Where it's like, please, I want to make them work.
Hey, we're in Battle Sisters Codex territory now, so they do work.
They're still a good unit because they're in a good codex. There's just, I know, there's other stuff in the book where it's, I'd rather do that.
They are 90 points, so they cost more than the Seraphim.
More than the Seraphim, and I remember you compared them to Assault Intercessors?
Yeah.
Which, yes, Assault Intercessors are what, 80 points?
75, 80 points, yeah.
The jump pack ones are, 80. But that's because Space Marines are pretty bad right now.
I can see that, but they're getting so much more.
Yeah, more toughness, more attacks, more
wounds.
More wounds. The more wounds is the big thing. It's like, cool, we have double the health for the same cost at cheaper.
Yeah, if there's ever anything even that fights on death, the Seraphim, Zephyrim disappear along with whatever they've just tried to kill.
Oh, they're just too expensive. I just like them, the idea of them. Please, GW, make them cheaper.
I think they're still being taken competitively, just not your high-level tournament players.
Yeah.
Some people will take them.
Like, that's why I will put them in bad choice against my own biases.
Oh, I was going to say situational. I was going to be generous.
I would even use Celestine over them. Because Celestine has, like, it's the smaller footprint, and the, like, invuln and the Gemini, all that. Just...
Yep. And Celestine, shenanigans, wound allocation shenanigans.
Like, if Celestine's bad, these, I think, are worse.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Another one people love to still use, even though you say it doesn't work as much, but you're right. Retributors. It's the cherubs though. Like I love the cherubs. They get 2, but they
still doing the same as a Battle Sister cherub.
But they get 2.
Yes, they get 2. No one's ever like, oh, the Battle Sisters and Dominions have cherubs, guys. Cherubs for days. Cherubs for the one shooting phase.
I'm going to spend this one on the cherub to just miss automatically and reroll.
Not a good idea.
It's not a good idea, no. Retributors are still... If you look at the datasheet alone, they are very good. And then you look at their points. Where, god damn, why?
My easiest go-to is compare them to Space Marine Devastators. They cost more than Devastators. And Devastators have much larger weapon options. Plasma cannons, las cannons.
But, they don't get miracle dice. No cheating.
Just reroll all hits with Oath of Moment. Maybe Space Marines would be much better if they got back the, oh yes, and you also reroll wound rolls.
Please no, I want less rerolls, not more.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like I've been playing fantasy and the lack of rerolls is nice.
My biggest bugbear is Feel No Pain. I don't think it should have survived past 7th edition. As soon as things were doing multiple damage, so now you need to make multiple rolls very slowly against each attack.
Thanks for doing 4 damage into my Ogren with 3 wounds, or like 2 things of 2 damage. So now I have to roll into like each Ogren individually.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Damage 2 into Black Templars, and they have a 6+ feel no pain. It just goes on and on.
Yeah. I don't know, but Retributors, why did they make them so expensive?
I don't know. Maybe they were thinking of the Sisters Index.
We were so abused, especially with the Dialogist?
Yeah, the Dialogus. People did put them together. I think it was even too expensive in the Index.
Really? I enjoyed it because of Overwatch.
Main thing was the Immolator. Jump out of an Immolator, and then you got full rerolls to wound. Now you get Ignores Cover.
You do get Ignores Cover, which, thanks, the Retributors AP4, because you're taking the Melta.
You are taking the Melta guns, yes.
Ignores Cover, I find not as useful in Sisters. Just because your Flamers already have it, and the things that aren't Flamers are AP like 4.
Or they're bolt guns that have no armor penetration.
Exactly. Thank you.
And most enemies are toughness 3+ save, so they will get no benefit from the cover.
I don't see as much purpose for Retributors anymore. It's a lot of Melta shots, but you would want to, like, at this point, just foot slog them, which they're squishy.
And at that point, you have Dominions for cheaper. You get twice as many Dominions for less cost.
Oh my god. I hate that. Retributors, how could they?
They're a bad choice.
They are.
I know you can put them with heavy bolters and hide at the back, and if you have the elevation, AP -2 heavy bolters, that will shred Space Marines. Heavy flamers are okay. Strength 6, you don't need the Bringers of the Flame detachment. You're at the good strength level. But you want the multi-melters, but the box only comes with 2 multi-melters.
I find them a trap. They're people who are still living in the Index, basically, would use this.
And that was very much kind of only at one particular time, depending on the points, because we've had 3 lots of different points in the Index.
Yes.
So only for a couple of months were they good, and only with an Immolator. Or a Rhino, but mainly the Immolator.
But everybody remembers those couple of months like it's seared in the brain. Because it's like, wow, I showed up and died.
Yeah. Otherwise, you also need to make sure that if you're coming out of a transport and you're hitting an enemy tank, it has to be a Land Raider, and it has to be destroyed so that you get your points back. If there isn't an enemy Land Raider, you immediately are not going to be trading well.
And if it's a Land Raider, it's not impossible it's going to be a Redeemer that's just going to overwatch them.
That's the problem. Yep.
It's 90% of the time a Redeemer, which is why? Anyway, Sacresants are up next. I do like them. There's a lot of stuff I like in Sisters, and the stuff I like always ends up being not great.
At the moment, I think we're being slightly punished on the points.
Suffering for the sins of the past.
They know it's a good codex, so they're putting the points up a bit high, and some units are not making the cut. I think Celestine Sacresants are one of them. If you're taking Bringers of Flame detachment, don't have Celestine Sacresants. It has to be guns.
There's what do we know point? Bolt pistols. Ooh.
Yeah, wow. Strength 5 bolt pistols, 1 strength 5 hand flamer.
The -1 to wound is nice. The problem is you're still toughness 3. So you're still getting wounded probably on 3s.
Yeah, what's their points at the moment? Celestine Sacresants. They are... Why are they not in S?
Because they start with a C.
Of course they are. I just think of Celestians as Celestians with guns, the ones we had since 3rd edition.
Don't exist anymore.
Yeah, don't remind me, it's mean. He's bullying me, chat. 75 points for 5 Celestine Sacresants.
That's way too much.
They were okay at 65 points, but if they were 50 points, 55 points, 11 points a model, that's more viable. Then they can be used as action characters.
Yeah. It's not even that 75 points is an insane number. It's you want a character attached to them to make a benefit from their only ability, which is attacks.
Thankfully now it's any character, not just Canonesses and Palatines.
I don't even know why they did that before. That was weird.
Yeah, they were being weird. The whole Sisters Index was a massive restriction limitation thing. The Genestealer Cult Codex has that now with the stratagems. This only works in very specific conditions and still costs 2 command points for some reason.
They're another book that's suffering for the sins of their index, which is like...
Probably.
Oh,
but
really?
only one part of their index, but yes.
Yes, the aberrants, they got brutalized.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Sisters, they were doing very poorly at the very start of the edition,
over time,
and now they get the bonus.
They were getting better over time, and then the codex got leaked, and everyone's like, Jesus Christ, what is this? Especially with the index, like the codex points, like that was absurd.
Did the Sisters get leaked? I thought they just came out. They were one of the few that actually came out on schedule.
They came out on schedule, but people found it like a month ahead of time.
Had they?
Yeah, I remember it because I tried one game with the codex points, and I'm like, this is brutal. I'm not doing that again.
Oh no, it was pre-orders. They had like the pre-orders, and that's when the people who legitimately were handed the codex by Games Workshop to like do their YouTube things then revealed it all. So yeah, it was like 2 weeks in advance rather than the 6 weeks that we've seen for other codexes like the Chaos Space Marines and the Tau.
Yeah, the Tau one was really brutal, where it's like, why that far? Like, I don't know what's happening with that, but Sacresants, I do like the melee weapons. You know, Spear of the Faithful is nice, even though one person could have it.
Yeah, but then all of the other weapons have been brought up. It still doesn't bring the unit up. It doesn't have quite the role. If you want combat units, you tend to go for Arco-flagellants or you go for Repentia. But even outside of the penitent host,
you're punished for taking them outside of that. This is like the one you would want to take outside Penitent for melee, but they don't do that job.
No, whereas Zephyrim do that job more.
Oh, that is brutal to hear, because now I know exactly where to put them.
They're a bad choice.
They are. You know, when people first saw this book, they're like, "Oh, nothing's gonna be bad. Everything's gonna be at least like situational."
Oh, it's still viable. You can play with it and you can have fun with it. And if you're thinking, "Oh, I don't want any of the Ministorum units. I want all Battle Sisters," this'll work.
Yeah. But yeah, this tier rank is like for tournament. It's what we think with it, and it doesn't mean don't take Celestine, right? Celestine's great.
Yeah. Whereas my tier list was a lot more thinking of casual games and what will work. Some things that are like, please just don't ever know. Some things that are like so situational that they only work on that one Wednesday, but most things were all right.
That Wednesday if it's rainy out.
Yeah.
Repentias, I had so much hope for them with the Codex first. They're still really good. There's 18 points a model.
Mm-hmm.
That is brutal for like one weapon and no ranged at all. They're squishy in a squishy army.
Toughness 3, 6+ invulnerable save.
You need to take them in Penitent like hosts, and
you do take them in the Penitent host and nowhere else.
Yeah,
I think anyone else has tried it. The general discourse from like my comments was, I tried them in this detachment. It hurts. They're too expensive.
Like maybe a 5-man in one of the other detachments if you want some melee threat.
They work okay in the Hallowed Martyrs. Because if you've got 10 of them in the Hallowed Martyrs detachment, they can take some casualties and then they get better. And they also have a stratagem to fight on death.
But then you're paying quite a lot. Like if you take a 5-man with that, which if you lose one, you have 3 eviscerators now.
Yeah.
Which is 2 attacks. It's only 2 attacks. They're just reliable attacks because the full hit rerolls.
Yeah, full rerolls to hit, full rerolls to wound, as long as the superior's alive. So no tanking the saves on the superior anymore.
I mean, I'm glad they changed from needing to charge to get the wound roll. It's just you always have it now while she's alive.
Yeah. They're so situational, though. The points are too harsh on them.
Like, if it was Pentian host, they're strong. Anything else, they're kind of bad. So I would just meet in the middle with situational. Because, like, you might be running Pentian host. There's only a couple detachments.
Yeah, you've got to have enough Arco-flagellants and Repentia to back it up, along with your Mortifiers and Penitent Engines.
Which some people do have. I have a Pentiant host that I like using, just not anymore.
Is it not suiting your needs anymore?
I'm paying quite a lot for I want more bodies.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I'm weird with it. But yes, they're
I'll
definitely
allow situation.
situational at best, really.
If the points got better, if they would drop by 10 points
I could see them
per
going down to like
5,
160 for 10.
yeah, then I can see them working a bit more. But it's like, oh, we're creeping into the. We've gone from the yes, I'll take 2 or 3 units to no, just
To
no.
not even like an MSU.
No, because we can get so many other MSUs much cheaper.
Which brings it to the Mortifiers, which I don't like them. I really don't.
How have you been using your modifiers?
A little bit too much like Penitent engines.
Yeah.
That's the
Penitent
issue.
engines rush forward and claw things up. Mortifiers hold objectives.
Yes, which I have other stuff I'd rather hold objectives with than this, like something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Where
But
like
they're 3+ save and fight on death. It's on a 2+, but fight on death
it's a
means
4
that
up
they
save.
can resist the enemy well
3
enough.
up with the thing, yeah. Because only one could take the sarcophagus, right?
Yes,
Which-
that is per.
Unit.
Yeah, so if you have a unit 2, which you shouldn't, then one of them has the Anconrite sarcophagus.
That alone means you like shouldn't take a 2-man.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Good. There's other stuff I'd rather hold objectives with than this guy. And if I want melee, there's the Pentian engine, who does it much better. It's the shooting version. Well, to me, the shooting version.
You can have heavy bolters on it, and you can't have them on the Penitent engine. Yeah, the heavy bolters are a little bit annoying, but castigators exist, and you get 3 heavy bolters as a, oh yes, forgot about them. Your
Yes.
rhinos don't, but the immolators now do, the Exorcist now does, since they changed up the model in 9th edition.
I just this guy just has no place to me. Like when I think about him, what role does he fill? And I'm like, yeah, he sits back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like great. I can do that with literally anything else.
Yeah, so are we thinking bad choice?
I'd say bad choice just because I don't see a role for him. If someone proves me wrong with that, it'd be great because I like when I actually know what stuff does.
In the Penitent host, if you have your large blocks of Arco-flagellants with Preachers and your large Repentia squads, one of which has a character with them, then you're going to need something else to use the actions on. And that's a unit. It works as a unit.
It does work well for that, but that's assuming you're Pentian host. Like this whole block, the Pentian block, assumes like you're going Pentient. Pentient engines. A lot of Pentient today. Let's see.
Well, they are like 5 of our units, but only 5 out of...
It is.
It's not even a quarter of the army.
Is it even 5? I guess if you count the priest.
Which you do, because he has the Penitent keyword.
Yeah. But Pentient engines, these I do like compared to the Mortifiers. Just because, you know, the second you tell somebody you have advance and charge, they immediately change how they play. It's like a mental game with that.
Yeah, when I've had them, it's a great distraction engine. When I've played against them, I've learned very quickly, these are not that awful.
They're not
It's a couple of
big
attacks.
threats.
They'll kill 1 or 2 Chaos Legionaries, then die in response.
Exactly. But when you tell most people, like, I have advance and charge, suddenly you see them measuring from, like, 10 inches away to I'm going to stay 15 inches away.
Mm-hmm.
Which that helps you more than them actually getting to melee.
Yeah, 8 inches plus 3d6. It can be annoying to be like, oh, where's it going to go? But you do hold it back and then charge it against something you want dead.
Yes.
Strength 10 with twin linked. You go for a tank, probably a light tank, because you do only have 4 attacks. And I would say you want the buzzblades rather than the flails. Everything else in our army can be strength 5, killing infantry.
Yes.
We need as many anti-tank things as we can get.
It already has the flamers as well. The flamers I do like because it's like, oh, I have 2d6 for Overwatch.
Oh, yeah. Can just have the flamers. The flamers are there. It's, I'm not sure about strong. Looking at tournament lists that people are taking, they're not much making the cut.
I like the potential of him, but he is a little expensive for suffering of being Pentient. And if you're not Pentient host, you don't really need him.
Yeah.
He's nice, but probably outside of Pentient host, his best use is generating miracle dice.
That works. That's not a bad idea.
But if your job is to generate miracle dice, you're not being used for what you're actually intended for.
It's just you do multiple things. I think they are at least situational.
Yes, I'm probably in like middle-ish of situational because I do have a soft spot for him
Hmm.
because he's nice. Arco-flagellants are still very good. They are good, but
Not as good, but yes.
they went from like
Arco-flag-
I always want like a 10-man unit to, or just a bunch of 3-mans to. I still think they're good. I say that after I fought Gene Stealer cults and I did 60 attacks and didn't kill a 20-man unit.
Yeah, they do miss having twin linked, so you really want to put a preacher with them.
The preacher does help, but he can't really keep up as well.
It's 1 inch missing on the movement.
Yeah, you'd be surprised when it comes in effect, where it's like, damn. But
Well, you just have the
hazardous.
preacher at the front, and then when you're moving the squad, you take them from the back. Yeah, they're just like filtering through from the front to the back over the course of 3 turns.
Yeah, if you suddenly have to change direction, though, good luck. It's not that bad. But I like with hazardous now, they could survive it.
Yes, because Hazardous gives you 3 devastating wounds, and you get your feel no pain saves against them. And they have 2 wounds anyway.
They have 2 wounds, and if you are doing Penitent Host, oh look, I did a 4+ feel no pain for this fight phase anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's an advantage. So you always want to be using the extremist trigger word. So 6 attacks.
It was a soft
Yeah,
buff that in that sense, but then losing twin linked is brutal. Usually it's better to have double the attacks than twin linked, but in this case they only gained I think 1 attack.
I don't think they gained any attacks.
No, they used to have I think 3 and went to 5 with the trigger word. I know that changed. I'm like 90% sure that changed.
I can look it up pretty easily.
Yeah, I think I have the index downloaded somewhere, but I swear it changed.
Okay, we'll investigate. Going on an investigation. Arco-flagellants right at the bottom. Arco-flagellants were 4 attacks, and with their extremist trigger word, they went to 6 attacks, just the same as now.
Was the phone app wrong then? Because I swear they had less.
No, they've got 1 worse feel no pain, and they lost twin linked.
I gotta go back and watch some videos because I swear they did. That is weird. I'm getting Bernstein Baird. Anyway, I think they're just situational. Like they can generate miracle dice because they're cheap. They're pretty good in Penitent Host, and they can be scarily tanky.
They can be very good in the Army of Faith because then you can get Lance +1 to wound, and or you can have was it Divine Guidance -1 armor penetration. That does a lot.
Yeah, especially because in melee, they don't get cover, so AP1's actually useful.
Mm-hmm.
Strength
It's
5
begging
is nice
for an
in
armor of
civilians.
contempt, but we're spending his command point to spend a command point.
Their armor contempt being used there is probably more about worse for them than spending it somewhere else. Like imagine Paragon's Warsuits charge somewhere and they don't use the armor contempt there.
Or your Repentia, or
Repentia. Just someone else who has high AP weapons.
Yeah.
High-ish. I would put them situational.
Let's see let me just check where I put them. I said they were still very strong.
They are, but if you're not, I would still
even
probably
outside
run
of
3-mans.
Penitent Host.
Yeah, 3-mans for actions.
They just don't work in the Bringers of Flame detachment. All the others, they're very good.
I mean, they could work there if you want actions. That's about it.
Yeah, then you have the 3-man units.
I'm glad they could still be 3-mans because otherwise they would not be great. Anyway, Paragon Warsuits, I still like them, and I was both amazed and annoyed at the toughness 7 change. Because that actually affects some of my guns when I fight them.
Yes.
It's great.
Quite
I went from
strength 6, strength 12.
Exactly, where it's oh, my not battle cannon. My strength 12 weapons are now wounding you on 3s, which can be annoying.
There are a lot of points at the moment.
They are.
But they're very strong.
I would still want at least 1 unit of them. I have seen a list without them at all, but I would want 1 unit just because they're still good. The melee weapons I do find good. I would honestly take the War Mace over the War Blade.
Mix also works. A bit of both.
They both work. Mix works. You can't take the blade or the mace for tank shock anymore.
Nope.
But strength 12 can really put the dent in some people. You can buff up. You can buff up the AP, right?
Potentially with the Army of Faith attachment.
Yeah, which AP2 is mostly what you need into anything because with 3 damage, they probably have a 4-up invuln.
So I think you're now wounding Lehman Russes on a 2+.
If you have Lance, yes.
No, you don't need Lance. You get +1 to wound against monsters and vehicles.
There it is. You're right. So yes, 2+. But I probably wouldn't want to use the mace until Rust just because, the AP1.
Yeah.
But even with AP2, that would be scary.
Probably good. You take multi-melters, you take the grenade launcher. That's good.
Yes.
You have to fight monsters and vehicles. You don't need to do anything against infantry.
I like them as tank hunters.
Yeah,
oh, that's their job. They are tank hunters.
We can put them strong.
Yes. I would always want one unit just because they can delete vehicles with barely even trying. Like, without miracle dice, they can do it.
I can agree.
There we go. I'm still trying to keep within your time frame. Sorry. So I'm just speeding up a bit. The Rhino is a classic. I personally don't like Rhinos that much just because... I don't know why, actually. I just never had a big inkling to them. But they do their job.
Preferer. Yeah, they are cheaper than an Immolator. They get your units where you need to be. They're wonderful in the Bringers of Flame detachment.
Nice and cheap.
They're great.
The fire
they
deck is
keep
nice.
They counteract the Sisters' weakness. Toughness 3 is now toughness 9.
And they have to spend an activation to get through it that they have to do another activation to get to the Sisters inside.
Yes.
That is really nice. It's cheap. I think I'm too used to Chimeras where it has 4 different guns.
Yeah, you don't care about the guns.
I know. It does its job. It's cheap and nice. I like it. I'd stay strong. You're going to have it for pretty often.
This detachment, this edition really loves transports.
Oh, yeah, especially with the toughness increase.
Yeah, and you can get out and still shoot. You can get out before it moves and still charge. That works.
Immolator, the other transport, it did take a hit. It's still pretty good. It has really good guns. It's just
its main ability is splitting units. It gives you more MSU units. It gives you more things to complete actions and score secondary objectives and primary objectives, and then you win the game.
Its ability went from abilities tab to transport tab. Like, yeah, that benefit of cover is not going to help you much at all. But the meltas it comes with is nice just to do extra damage on a toughness 10 model.
Oh yeah, I still like the heavy flamers.
You do?
Because they are twin linked, so you're rerolling wounds. So against a lot of vehicles, you're wounding on 5s anyway.
I think I'm too stuck in the mindset of older editions where meltas cost more, so having you for free is better.
Yeah, not necessarily. Strength 6 and Strength 9 are still wounding toughness 10 on a 5+.
Yes, and you do get more shots with the flamer, but
so it's
the melta has more AP.
Yeah, and you've got miracle dice, so that's why you want for the damage.
It's oh nice, Melta 2, twin linked. I think it's strong. If Rhino's strong, this thing I think is
they've gone up in my estimation since using them a bit.
It's better than a Rhino for me.
Both
yes, it can't transport a full squad, but it has guns. It's more to spend miracle dice on. What is that? Exorcist. I know you really like the Exorcist.
Oh, I love the Exorcist. That's where you spend your miracle dice. That's where we have multiple damage.
It is D6 damage, and you get to pick now, right? Oh no, you have to still select one. Yes, yeah, you have to switch with the rocket.
Yeah, no one takes the anti-infantry rockets because we have everything else in the army that is anti-infantry.
Oh, you're saying that 15 other flamers are enough?
Probably.
That missile launcher is brutal, but they're only hitting on 4s now.
Yeah, I know.
Only hitting on 4s. At least you could miracle dice the damage. It's only strength 10, which honestly, strength 10, I'm not a big fan of too much anymore. I'm most vehicles are toughness 9. No, they're not. There's a lot of
Well,
toughness
they
10
were
and 11 vehicles.
toughness 7, toughness 8 last edition.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're looking at toughness 9, toughness 10 as the standard.
Yeah. It's nice, but it's the only hitting on 4s. That's, what, 2.5, like 2 or 3 are going to hit. And then...
I'm hoping that the points are going to go down, but Games Workshop really doesn't like indirect fire. They keep putting the points up, they keep changing the rules.
As a guard player, good.
Yeah, indirect fire remains very strong. Never mind ignore cover, ignore line of sight.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, cool, I'm just going to pick that to die over there.
Yep.
That's why I'm glad indirect has gotten a lot of kick in the teeth. And for me, this dropped a lot just because of that. Like, its points went up a lot in general, like throughout the edition. Only hitting on 4s now.
Knowing that its points are the same as the Triumph of St. Catherine is the difficult bit.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go in situational, at least for the time being.
Honestly, I don't think I would see it that often. But I can agree, like, it has its use. It does have its use. Especially if you get one off and you just get an instant sinks on someone, like a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So it does have its use. And
Army of Faith especially. Because then 2 of the damages, and then it's like, oh, I got through your armor? Goodbye.
Oh, nice 12 wound vehicle. Goodbye. Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the deadly demise when it goes off is funny.
Yeah, I haven't had it work yet, but
really,
it's there. It's there.
Like, when it works, it's going to be glorious.
Only +1, but yeah.
The Castigator. I still like the Castigator. I really like it. Because I like when different units interact together to buff up other units.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like,
as
the extra
someone
AP,
who plays Gene Stealer Cult and enjoys the Ridge Runner, yeah.
The extra AP makes those, like, nearly useless bolters into a bit better if they don't have
cover.
cover.
Very much better.
If they don't have cover, which they will, but hey, who knows? Immolator. You know,
well, that's why you double up with an Immolator. Either way round.
Exactly. Makes a range that improve the AP by 1.
You got 3 heavy bolters almost for free. They're way better and similar points to the Retributor squad.
Yeah, and yeah,
100.
A tank costs the same as 5 sisters. Great.
Mm-hmm.
What I like with it is also the main gun. Like, it's surprising how much damage it can do. I've had it like do 9 damage into a Russ on its own.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bit of like luck, but
both
when
of the
it
main
works,
guns are
it
great.
hurts.
I like the twin autocannons because I like getting a bit closer because I have an Exorcist, so that's my long range shooting. The Castigator goes closer, and then you get 8 shots, rapid fire, twin linked, strength 9, damage 3.
I usually see the battle cannon, but I like the autocannon because it's consistent shots as well. It's you're mostly getting 8, and it's twin linked.
You can't miracle dice the shots, the number of shots.
No, not with the autocannon.
Well, you can't miracle dice your number of attacks anyway.
Yeah, that's why I'm like the autocannon is consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
Strength 9 and 10 usually doesn't make a big difference. Usually.
Not really, but hey, bring us a flame. Now I have a strength 10 autocannon doing 8 shots.
Just 8 shots is so nice. Twin linked. Strength 9, AP 1, 3 damage. Yeah.
I think
I
it's
get 3 heavy
tournament
bolters.
standard.
I don't know why that just hit me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a lot of AP 1 on this. And buffing the rest of your army. Like, you want to shoot this basically first.
Yep.
I'm just nervous that the times it kills the target you want to buff up against. Which,
Not
I mean,
that
it's still
often.
good. Oh no,
And you can always
killed
fire the heavy bolter, the storm bolter, or the 100 killer missile at something else that you want to buff up and have the main cannon fire at something else. You don't need to fire all of your shots at one target.
Which is good. Like because that changed the ability is nice, where it's, oh, the autocannon does this and the battle cannon does that.
Yeah, yeah.
That was annoying, where it's like, well, what am I going to fight most often?
Yeah, they were good against each. Like the blast battle cannon that's also good against monsters, or the heavy thing that's good at monsters, but also now is good at infantry. It was a kind of equalizing.
Yeah. Either way, that is actually the, where do we want that? I almost said like, oh, and that's the entire book.
It's tournament standard.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always seen it. Sometimes I like to see 2 pretty often, but there's always going to be 1.
Yeah, and it's cheap enough.
Oh, I didn't realize I could move the text. I think that's why it showed up. Uh-oh. I don't know how I did that. What did I do?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the live stream to catch up.
I don't know what's happening with it. That is amazing. I haven't seen that with tier ranker before.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Torna standard mint.
Turnt stand mint dard.
Oh, well.
Well, thank you, tier ranker, for that right at the end. That's going to be the last thing people see. But yeah, we got through the whole book. It was actually a little slower than I thought because there's a lot to talk about with sisters. The codex is
And
very
you have
good.
someone who wants to talk about sisters a lot.
I mean, I like when that happens because when you get someone who wants to talk about their army, there's so much insight you can get about it.
Yeah. Good. Well, that is the whole point of my channel. Well, half the point of my channel. Well, 40% of my channel is just pure sister stuff.
And then Genestealer Cult as well.
Yeah, I know. Well, people weren't talking about Genestealer Cult on YouTube, and I was like, it's gonna be me. And really everyone will know my name.
I can't think of much other Genestealer Cult content at all.
There's people who do like the occasional video, or they have like, oh yeah, there's someone in our team who plays Genestealer Cult and knows how they work.
Yeah.
But no, not to get dedicated things.
It's nice when armies have like dedicated stuff, just because here's a source of information for them.
Mm-hmm. That's worked the last few months. Well, many months. Yeah. So come to my channel if you want Battle Sisters things. The last like 4 videos on the channel have all been Battle Sister focused, including one I did today about a tournament list and how to get the most out of a tournament style army with the tactics that work for it, not just here's a list, go have fun.
Here's a list, go have fun. Yeah. I don't know. It's nice having you here for it because you definitely have a lot more experience with sisters, so it's good to get that here.
Yeah, it's fun. Right.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. Here's the tier ranking. Nothing's awful. Everything, there's bad choices, but you can still use them. And it's a good codex. It does need some points points buffs. Just because they really overdid it on some units.
Castigator could go up in points. Exorcist could come down. That'd be nice.
Katherine could go up a bit. She's still used too much. She's been way too consistent. But yeah, thank you for joining us. And to everyone watching, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Do the YouTuber thing. Join our Discord. It's free.
Just do one of those things. Just like the video and leave it at that.
Hey, yep,
that
works too.
That's easy to do.
And thank you, VTS5, who's the first king. Keep at it. Thank you for supporting the channel.